Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking closely at 2 Chronicles Chapter 1, the very start of King Solomon's time.
Yeah, it's a really pivotal moment. Solomon's stepping into power after David, inheriting this, well, pretty strong kingdom.
And the text makes it clear right away that God's favor is on him. That seems important.
Absolutely. It kind of sets the tone for everything that follows. It's not just about political power, but this divine connection.
So one of the first big things he does is gather all the leaders. Not in Jerusalem, though. They go to Gibeon. Why
Yeah.
there?
That's a great point. Gibeon was significant because the original tabernacle was still there, the one Moses built.
Ah, right. And the bronze altar, too.
Exactly. So even though David had brought the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, Gibeon was still seen as this central place for worship for the whole community back then.
Okay, so it shows Solomon connecting with that established tradition.
Right. He's acknowledging that history, that designated place for connecting with God.
And while they're there, he makes this massive sacrifice, 1,000 burnt offerings. That's a
Oh.
lot.
It's huge. Definitely not just checking a box. It's this extraordinary act of, well, devotion.
Like laying a foundation.
Yeah, like saying, okay, I'm starting this kingship, and God is absolutely central, seeking that blessing right from the get-go. It's a powerful statement.
And then right after this huge act of worship, God shows up.
In a dream, yeah.
Yeah.
And the offer is just, wow, ask what I shall give you. Completely open-ended.
No limits mentioned. It really puts the spotlight on Solomon, doesn't it? What does he truly value?
It really does. What's the first thing on his mind as he takes on this massive responsibility?
And his answer is kind of stunning, really. He doesn't ask for, wealth or power or his enemies defeated.
Nope. He asks for wisdom and knowledge.
Specifically to govern the people well. He basically says, this is your people, this huge nation. How can I possibly lead them without knowing right from wrong?
The humility there is remarkable. It's not about him, it's about the task. He sees the weight of leadership and knows he needs God's help.
His focus is outward, on serving the people properly.
Exactly. It's about stewardship, about responsibility.
And God's reaction to this request.
It's incredibly positive. God is clearly pleased. He says essentially, because you asked for this, and not for riches or honor or long life.
I'm giving you the wisdom and knowledge you asked for.
Right. But then he adds, and I'm also giving you riches, wealth, and honor like no king before or after you.
Wow. So because he prioritized the right thing, wisdom for service, he received the other things too.
It really highlights that principle, doesn't it? When your heart's desire aligns with God's purposes, focusing on wisdom and serving others, often those other things, the blessings, they kind of follow naturally.
It suggests true prosperity isn't just material. It flows from that foundation of wisdom.
Precisely. It's a different kind of success model.
And the chapter does end by mentioning Solomon going back to Jerusalem, and it hints at his wealth and military strength starting to build up.
Yeah, the chariots, the horsemen, the silver and gold becoming common. It shows God immediately starting to fulfill that promise.
That initial choice for wisdom really set the course.
It absolutely did. And it's not just ancient history. There's so much here for us, today.
Right. So let's bridge that. Solomon starts with worship, honoring God.
Yeah.
How does that apply now, when we start something new or face a challenge?
Well, it's like setting a spiritual anchor, isn't it? Before jumping into the strategy or the execution, taking that time to connect with God, to seek his perspective.
Grounding yourself first.
Exactly. Whether it's a big project, a family decision, leading a team, starting from that place of reverence can really bring clarity and maybe a better kind of strength.
And that choice, Solomon made wisdom over wealth. That feels incredibly relevant in our world, which is so focused on, material success.
Oh, absolutely. We're constantly told that more stuff, more status, that's the goal. Solomon's story is this powerful counter-narrative.
It suggests lasting success comes from something deeper.
Yeah. It reminds us that the ability to make wise choices, to discern, to understand people and situations that leads to outcomes that are actually more beneficial, more lasting, both for us and for everyone impacted by our decisions. Thinking long-term, not just immediate gain.
And God honoring Solomon's motive, that focus on serving others, not himself. That seems key too. Our intentions matter.
They really do. When the driving force is genuinely about serving a purpose greater than just our own benefit, it seems to resonate differently. Not like a transaction, like I do this, so God gives me that, but
More like aligning your heart with God's heart.
exactly. And often blessings or provision come in unexpected ways when we're focused on that service.
It also paints a picture of leadership as service. Solomon wanted understanding to lead well. We talk about servant leadership a lot now.
We do, and this is a foundational example. Whether you're a CEO, a parent, a community volunteer,
Yeah.
that mindset of how can I best serve the needs of those I'm responsible for, that's the core of it. Solomon wanted insight for the people.
You also mentioned him building on David's legacy earlier. Is there a thought there about, like, generational faithfulness?
I think so. It touches on how we build on what came before us and also what foundation we're laying for those who come after. Our pursuit of wisdom, our integrity, our connection with God, that creates a kind of spiritual inheritance.
So connecting all this back to strengthening our faith today, how does actively seeking wisdom, like Solomon did, do that?
Well, when we consciously choose to seek God's guidance, his wisdom, over just relying on our own understanding or chasing worldly things, it's an act of trust, isn't it?
It definitely requires humility, acknowledging we don't have all the answers.
Right. And that very act of depending on God, asking for his wisdom, deepens that relationship. It reinforces our faith because we're actively putting our trust in his understanding and his provision.
And seeing God give Solomon more than he asked for must also boost faith.
Oh, for sure. It's such an encouragement. It shows us a God who sees our hearts, who understands our deepest needs, and whose generosity can go way beyond what we even think to ask for, especially when our desires line up with his good purposes.
It's a reminder that his plans and provisions might be bigger than our prayers.
Exactly. He knows the bigger picture.
So if we were to distill this down, looking at 2 Chronicles 1 for strengthening faith today, what's the core takeaway?
I think the core is that prioritizing wisdom, God's wisdom, and focusing on service, all rooted in that relationship with him. It isn't just some old story. It's a real path
A path to what?
to a more meaningful life, a more impactful life, and definitely a path where our faith gets stronger because we're actively engaging with God, seeking his guidance, and then experiencing his faithfulness, his provision, often in ways that surprise us, just like with Solomon.
When we seek the right things first, God often provides the rest, maybe even more.
That seems to be the pattern here. Focus on the wisdom to serve and trust God with the outcomes.
Powerful stuff. Okay, here's something for you listening to think about. Where in your life, maybe this week, could you intentionally seek wisdom first, rather than just the immediate result or gain? How might focusing on wisdom in that one area potentially lead to unexpected blessings and maybe deepen your own trust in God's guidance?